I'm doing good, guys. Good to be with you. Thanks, man. I hope you enjoyed the games this weekend.
Oh, phenomenal. I'll tell you, even, the games that became a little non-competitive based on the final score, I thought there were so many interesting storylines. Like, for me, Brian, I would imagine that you would, well, maybe you don't. Do you think that Matt Ryan's going to win the MVP?
Uh, they've had the number one offense from start to finish this year. It usually goes to, it's hard not to give it to a quarterback with as much as they have to be responsible for. He hasn't won it before. It's a great story. So, but, I mean, there's three other quarterbacks right now that are still alive that all would have a, are going to get votes, whether it's Brady or Rodgers. They're all going to get votes. I don't know who's going to get the most right now.
Okay, no, I just throw that out there because to me that was an incredibly appealing storyline. If he breaks through and wins the MVP, which I think he will, and then if he's ever able to win the Super Bowl, which I think he's got a real chance to do, it really changed the way he's perceived. I thought that was a huge story. And quite frankly, Jason Garrett at some point, Brian, needs to change the scouting report that is slowly developing now that he cannot win the big one. Are you a Garrett believer? Big picture for Dallas?
Well, I mean, they were the story of the NFL from start to finish this year with the two rookies. Getting the number one seed, the whole thing. Look, Jason understands that in this business, you get evaluated by what you do in the postseason. Andy Reid is 11-12 in the postseason. Andy Reid's a great coach. He's 11-12 in the postseason. Quarterbacks and coaches get evaluated by how they perform and what their record says they do in the postseason. And so you look at the postseason, Jason Garrett has come up short.
Does it matter should he get the benefit of the doubt because of how difficult it is to work with Jerry Jones?
That's part of the job in Dallas.
Yeah.
It goes with the territory. I don't know that it's hard to separate where Jerry meddles, where Jerry steps in, and where Jerry's just the owner and the general manager. It's kind of cloudy, and so you don't really know the level of interference that goes on. Look, they've got a great owner that loves the spotlight and loves his involvement, and probably it crosses the line too much for Jason, but it's hard from the outside to know just where that line is. And so you give him the benefit of the doubt. Not everybody can work with an owner like Jerry.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, you love his passion, the fact that he's going to throw resources at every problem every year, and there's not a lot of owners that are willing to do that.
We're talking to Brian Baldinger from NFL Network, Fox Sports as well, here on Tiki and Tierney. So, Baldy, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, man. My list is incredibly short. Matter of fact, it might be a list of one, but you played, so I'm sure you have a better, deeper perspective than I do. That 3rd and 20 throw from his own 32, Rodgers to Cook for a 36-yard strike. I honestly, without being a victim of the moment or hyperbole, I don't think there's anybody else in NFL history that is making that throw. Am I wrong?
Probably not. I mean, you're going to – if it gets Rodgers and Brady, that conversation will be had for 2 weeks, should both those teams advance this weekend. But, yeah, I mean, everything from the rollout to the level of calmness. I mean, he could have played that game yesterday in a tuxedo and played the role of James Bond. Nobody would be surprised. And so everything from his level of control to his poise to where he put that ball on a play that isn't even a play. I mean, you're drawing that play up on the sidelines. I mean, that whole thing probably, that roll call is probably Aaron Rodgers and nobody else.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you look at that play, you look at the quarterbacks that are left now. They're all have won a Super Bowl. They're all, Hall of Famers except for Matt Ryan at this point. And if he keeps playing the way he is, he will be as well. But you contrast that with the young buck Dak Prescott, who was in charge of the Cowboys down the stretch, and he spikes the ball. Maybe that comes from the sideline. Maybe it doesn't. But it feels like that will be the narrative that derailed the Cowboys season, or at least derailed their opportunity to go to the further on in the postseason. Is that fair to Dak to criticize him for basically doing what Jason Garrett told him to do?
I tweeted it out as soon as it happened, and I thought it was a mistake when it happened. Like, run the play. I know what Jason Garrett said, in the post-game press conference, keep the timeout in your back pocket. I didn't think they needed to use a timeout.
Yeah, they had plenty of time.
I think they needed to call a play right there. And, in hindsight, you leave, 35 seconds of the clock for Aaron Rodgers, and even when you sack him on first down, he still is able to snap that ball off or, to Cooks there, to put him in field goal range. So when you go back and you go, like, that's a play that could have used a lot more clock as they're making that drive. And so I don't know who you put if it's a blame. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it comes from the sideline, and so you got to live with that. But look, Dak Prescott, from the day that he stepped on the field to LA Coliseum in that first preseason game, I mean, he's been in total control and total charge. And so I'm not going to take one play out of the 1,000 that he played and criticize him. I'm just not going to do it.
Brian, not that it really matters, but I'm curious if you, based on what you thought would be the outcome coming in, and based on what we actually saw, did the best team win in this Chiefs-Steelers game? I know the best team. I know they deserved to win the game last night. I'm not saying that, but are the Steelers definitively better than Kansas City? Can we say that?
I think they are.
You do.
I mean, I was surprised when Kansas City came in as a favorite in that game.
Uh-huh.
It sort of went back and forth between a point and 2 points. I was surprised Pittsburgh came in with an 8-game win streak. They were the hottest team. They were healthy. I thought they were a better team. Now, they didn't score a touchdown. The Chiefs played, in a lot of ways, they played a really good game. In a lot of ways, some of the issues that show up in Kansas City and show up with Andy Reid over the years kind of showed up again. Great opening drive, scripted plays, bing, 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 touchdown, and then they kind of went to sleep for 2 quarters. So I thought Pittsburgh was the better team, and I thought, as much as you could say, well, do you call that holding call on Eric Fisher and let's go to overtime? I mean, all those things are fair debate. Do you call that holding call in the 2-point conversion and then let it settle in overtime? Maybe it's a different result, but I thought Pittsburgh was a better team, and I thought they outplayed Kansas City from start to finish.
Yeah, and I think they have a good chance of beating New England, even if they're on the road to do so, because of Le'Veon Bell. Now, Brian, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but he took every snap, Le'Veon Bell. He took every carry for sure for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's like in baseball, you just like shorten your rotation at some point. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going all in with the best runner and one of the best receivers in the National Football League in Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. Can they get it done in New England after New England showed vulnerability against a very inferior Houston Texans squad?
Tiki, I mean, I know you know this. Like, it's difficult to take every snap at that position.
Yeah.
We never saw D'Angelo Williams.
Never, except for the kneel down at the end. At the kneel down in the end. That's the first time he was on the field, I felt like.
No, but I mean, he has been. You talk about workhorse backs and how few of them there are. I mean, even Ezekiel's going out of the game. And he's obviously a lot younger. But, Pittsburgh went up to New England earlier this year with Landry Jones, and even after that game, Bill Belichick. I mean, his post-game press conference was nothing but admiration for Le'Veon Bell. And he knows what he's in for this weekend. And the problems that he poses as a receiver, as a running back, as a decoy, you name it, as a personal protector, there's nothing he can't do. He might be the most gifted player on the field this weekend. I don't know. I mean, that's obviously with quarterbacks and everything else, it's probably hard to make that claim. But he's special. And, yeah, they're all in. They're all in. He's going to take every snap, and Antonio Brown is going to return punts, and they're looking to get every play. They know they got 2 weeks to rest. They're going in. They're trying to get every play out of those guys that they possibly can get. And I think that's the way you should play. And I don't think it'll play any different this weekend unless there is just fatigue. But it doesn't. That's what Le'Veon Bell has done since he came back from suspension. Nobody has touched the ball more at that position than he has. Nobody's averaged more yards per game than he has. He has a chance to put himself deeper into the record books. And I think that's what he wants to be. Tomlin's allowing him to be it, and Pittsburgh needs him to be that. So, they went up to New England and gave him the heck of a game the first time they played him, and that was without Ben. They actually match up really well with the Patriots. And I don't know. I think Pittsburgh, this is going to be a tough game for New England, I think.
Going to be fun. Baldy, good stuff, man. Appreciate it. Brian Baldinger, NFL Network and Fox Sports. Enjoy the games, buddy. We'll probably see you. Going to be out in Houston, by the way?
Yeah, I will be. I'll see you guys down there.
Yep, we'll see you at Radio Row, pal. Make sure you swing by. Thanks, buddy.